In this short video, I'm going to show you how to do some speed ramping in Final Cut Pro. Now, over here in Final Cut Pro, I have two different video clips. The first clip here is flying through some balloons, and then it's going to speed through the different balloons, spin around them, and then as it comes back around, it's going to speed past those balloons and then fly into the next clip. Now, the second clip that I have here is of a snowboarder. It's going to be, he's flying down the mountain, he's going to hit a jump, it'll slow down. Now, it's already a little bit slow in this video, but we're going to kind of slow it down a little bit more to kind of accentuate it and make it more interesting. And then as he kind of goes back through here, we'll speed it up. And then when he hits the second jump, we'll slow it down again and we'll kind of make it more interesting and dynamic. And then as he's starting to fall, maybe about right there, we'll hit the actual speed again and we'll zoom back into the clip itself. So using these two clips, we're going to add in some speed ramping as we go through, just to make the two clips together a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more interesting. So the first step to this is getting the clips into our scene. So of course, we're going to click on them and hit the E key, and that's going to actually drop the clip into the actual primary storyline. So I'll do the same thing with the second clip. I'll click on that and hit the E key, and now both of our clips are in the primary storyline and we can start to add some speed ramping to it. Now, the process of adding a speed ramp is super easy to do. We just need to figure out where we want the speed ramp to happen, and then we're going to actually use the range selection tool to select that range and apply a speed ramp to it. Now, to do that, we have to first figure out where we want the actual speed ramp to begin. So in the case of the balloons here, I think as we kind of start to zoom in and we hit right about here where we start to get a little bit between the balloons, I think right about there is where I want the speed ramp to begin. Now, like I said, we're going to use the range selection tool to do this. So there's a couple of ways you can get to the range selection tool. You can either go up here and click on range selection tool, or you can see that there's also a shortcut key for the R key to use the range selection tool. So what we'll do is make sure our cursor is where we want it, and then we'll hit the R key, and that's going to give us our range selection tool. Now, there's also a couple of ways you could do the range selection itself. You could just click and drag to find your range that you want, or you can use in points and out points to do that. So basically what I'm going to do is just find the spot where I want the speed ramp to start again, and then now that I have the range selection tool, I can hit the I key, and that will create the in point of my range. And now what I have to do is figure out where do I want this actual speed ramp to end. So I think as it kind of zooms through the balloons like this, and it comes out around, so right about here, I think when we're in the middle of the outside balloon, somewhere around right there, I think that's where I want the range to end. So I'm going to hit the O key there, and that will create the out point for me. Now, I find that using the in points and out points is a much more precise way to do it, because you can also use the keys here to find the exact frame that you want, and then hit your in point and out point, and that will make it a lot more precise for you. Either way works, you just have to find which one works best for the situation you're working in. And so now that we have that range selected there, we're going to want to actually apply a speed ramp to this. So to add a speed ramp to our range, we can go up here to the retime menu, and then we can choose what we want to actually do with the speed of this clip. And so here in this case, we want to actually speed this clip up. So what I'm going to do is go down here to fast, and I'm going to choose 8 times, and that's going to speed that clip up 8 times faster than it was originally. And so if we zoom in on this clip here, you can see that as it gets to that point, it speeds it way up. Now, because we used the range tool, it actually created this speed ramp and applied all of the different speed ramping features to it at the same time. And what that means is it added these little handles on the outside here that allow us to control the duration of the actual speed ramp itself. So if we want the actual speed ramp to take a little bit longer, we can grab this handle out here and we can kind of pull it out wider so that the speed ramp actually happens over a longer period of time. So pulling these little handles out over here, or these little handles in here, will increase the duration of the speed ramp itself. Now, unfortunately, in Final Cut Pro, we don't really have control over the ramp itself or over the curve of the ramp. In DaVinci Resolve and in Premiere Pro, you do have a little bit more control over how the actual ramp itself is structured. In Final Cut Pro, we don't. However, we can control the duration of the ramping itself. So you just want to kind of play around with these handles over here to figure out how to just expand and contract the actual ramp itself. So now in this case, if we just watch this, we can see that it goes through and then it starts to speed up and then boom, it flies through and then slows down again on the other side. So that's perfect. That's exactly the way I want that. And now what I want is when it's over on this side, as it gets around to about here and the balloon is slightly over to the right like that, I want it to actually start to speed up again and fly past these balloons. So again, here we can create a range. So I'll hit the I key to get my in point. And then we can kind of move it all the way, but actually I think I'm just gonna speed this all the way to the end of that clip. So I'm not gonna set an out point because it's already having selected the rest of the clip. So in this case, we just wanna speed this one up now. So we can go up here to our retime menu, we can go to fast and choose 8 times, and that's gonna speed that part of the clip up. And actually I'm going to extend out the length of the ramp here a little bit, and I think I'll extend that out too like that. So we kind of get a little bit more length in our speed ramp. And now, if we start from the beginning, we just watch this, it goes through, it gets to the middle, it zooms around the balloon, slows down, and then speeds back up and flies by. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I want that particular clip to look like. And now we can handle the snowboarder here. So basically what I want is when it gets to this point, I want it to kind of speed up a lot here and zoom all the way until about, well, let's say about here, right about there. All the way up until about right once he gets on the ramp here, I want to actually take this and I'm going to set the out point there. And so that's going to be the end of where I've made him go a little bit faster. And now over here, I'm just going to pull the beginning back to the beginning of the clip there. Because you remember, I set an in point before, and so it thought that the original end point should have been in the other clip. So we just had to slide that over, and now our range is basically picking everything from here all the way up to where he hits the ramp. And at this point, I want to actually speed up this beginning clip. So I can go up here to my retime tools, I can change this to 2 times faster, because I don't really want to go like super fast in the beginning, because then it's just going to look like a Benny Hill episode, right? It's just everything's going to be going super fast. We don't want that. We want it to kind of like be fast, but not insanely fast or look ridiculous. And so in this case, if we kind of come through here, and now see it's a little bit faster, and then it starts to slow down right here when he hits the ramp. Now I actually want to slow this down a little bit more than it's already slowed down. So what I want to do is I think right here, and I'm going to use my arrows to do this. I'm going to get to like right there where he starts to go off the ramp. I want to set an in point there. And then as we go through, he's going to do his jump like this. He's flipping through the air, all the way through the air like that. And then as he comes back down, like this, I think right about here where his shadow starts to show and he's getting a little bit closer to the ground, right about there, I want to actually speed this clip back up again. So I'm going to set my out point there. So from here all the way to here, I want to slow him down a little bit. Now, to slow him down, we've got our range selected, so we just go up here to our retime menu here, and then we could choose slow, but I think 50% all the way down to 10% would be way too slow, like it would just drag this video way out. So what I actually want to do is go down to custom here, and then in custom, you can choose a specific percentage that you want. And so in this case, I'm going to set it to 80% so that it just slightly slows him down. I don't want to go insanely slow with him because that would just be ridiculous. So now if we watch this, it zooms around the balloons and then cuts to him, and then boom, slows down, and now it's dropped down to about 80%. So we've got a little bit more time to kind of appreciate this moment. And then as we hit here, boom, okay, it starts to speed up there, but it's not speeding up fast enough here because we want to actually double this speed right here, because at that point I basically want him to kind of like speed up and hit the ground. So when it gets to here, all the way until he gets to the next ramp, so we're just going to kind of zoom through here and find the next ramp somewhere about right there, we're going to speed this up 2 times as well. So right here, I'm going to set an out point. Now first what I did was I clicked on the actual clip itself. So it moved the range tool over to select the clip itself. And then I chose the out point so that it would select it from the beginning of the clip all the way to my out point there. And now I want to speed this part up right here. So now we go back up here to the retime menu here, and we're going to choose fast, and we're going to choose 2 times so that it speeds up that part where he's on the ground much faster. So now again, he's going slow through the air here. He gets to that point, and then boom, he hits the ground running, moving really fast. And then now when he gets into this other part, he's going to be going slow again. So I kind of want to extend these handles out a little bit, right? We want to play around with the duration of the speed ramp like that. And then when he gets about here, he's going to go up into the air and then very slowly again through here. So again, we're going to kind of find the point where he leaves the ramp right about there. And I'm going to just click on that, and then I'm going to hit the in point. And then I'm going to go find all the way until he spins around, and right about there where his shadow is visible and he's kind of heading toward the ground, that's where I'm going to set my out point. And again, I'm going to set that to a custom 80%. So it's 80% of the original speed, which means that it would slow it down just a little bit. And then finally, when we get to the end of this, and I'm actually going to extend this speed ramp out a little bit like that to kind of add a little bit more interesting dynamics to it. This whole clip here at the end, I'm going to just bump that up to 2 times speed. So we'll go up to fast, hit 2x, and then that should actually end out our clip like that. And so now we've added some speed ramps in here, and it just adds to the dynamic nature of it and makes it more interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We're just kind of playing through, it goes through the balloons, it speeds way up and ramps around the balloons, and then comes back up and zooms there, and now we're on the snowboarder, slows way down. We get that kind of dynamic moment where we're going around doing the flip, and then we kind of start to come back down, and then boom, as we hit to the ground, it speeds back up, and now it's moving fast again, and the slows way down, and it's that kind of like dance between like fast and slow and the dynamic nature of it that makes the speed ramping process that much more interesting. So that's all you have to do to create speed ramps in Final Cut Pro. But speed ramps in general are an amazing tool to add that kind of dynamic nature to the editing in your video. So I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that you'll actually just kind of dive in and start playing with speed ramping and start building some interesting things in Final Cut Pro. I would love to see what you are creating, so down in the comments below, play around and show me some clips of videos that you're creating with speed ramping. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate that you stick around and watch these videos. Be sure to check out my website. You can become a member over there. You get some cool perks. Check out the website to find out what those are. And also, I'm in the process of building out some cool stuff that I'm going to be adding to that website soon. So definitely go check it out. And if you want to, become a member. But most importantly, keep watching these videos, keep subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, commenting down below, because all of that engagement, you actually being involved and talking and being part of the community, helps grow this channel. And I'm trying to build this channel up so that we can kind of reach a bigger audience, so I can continue to build out videos that I think will be super useful to you, that you might enjoy, that would be helpful for you. As always, thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out that one.